So my name is Sarah. I'm an intensive care unit social worker, and I've been at Humber for about a year now. And Sarah and I actually started around the same time, and we shared an office together, and we're great friends.
My name is Sarah. I started at Humber about 9 months ago, but I've been in the social work profession for about 8 years. I work on an internal medicine floor for respirology. One of the primary roles of social worker on an internal medicine unit is assessments. We also help with discharge coordination as well as resource referrals for community resources to make sure folks are well supported when they go home.
As an intensive care unit social worker, I'm responsible for working in a team of interdisciplinary professions such as physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nursing, and speech and language pathology. And my role is really to support families in really difficult and necessary conversations about goals of care and end of life, and in some cases also navigating the system, but I think also just kind of connecting with the medical unit social workers as well.
So I feel like social work plays an important role in making sure that people feel like they're being heard on a personal level. So we often go in and have conversations about their home lives, their supports, things like that, to be able to make sure that they're well surrounded. Overall, I think for the hospital, we make sure that folks are going home in an environment that they're supported in hopes that they won't be coming back. So I do believe that our role helps in more frequent discharges being avoided.
I also think social workers are super important in the role of advocates, navigating systems, but we also have the clinical skills to support families and patients through really difficult situations and really hearing what they need, like Sarah said. You could ask all my friends. I love being a social worker. I think part of it is just kind of this thirst for knowledge about people and being there for people in their worst moments, but also really being there for them when they're in their best moments and sharing that with them and making them their own. They know what they need and being there for them, but letting them drive that and then kind of being like a catalyst for that. I love being a social worker. So.
I would say similar to Sarah, I love hearing folks' stories. So whether that's about where they lived before they came to Canada, if they weren't born here, or their experiences right now as they navigate the system, learning about obviously relevant things like their activities of daily living and their supports, but also hearing about their family, friends, hobbies. Overall, I would say social work is a very curious profession. We ask a lot of questions. It gives space for folks to kind of share who they are and really make it a more personable experience.
And I really like that word curious. Like yes. we really just want to know about you and how we can support you. So I think mentorship and having someone you can depend on to kind of bounce ideas off of in this field is super important. If you're just starting in this field, I think having someone that you connect with, that you trust, that you kind of have that connection with, that you feel like you could learn something from is super important. I have my own. Even prior to working at Humber, I had a lot of colleagues that had more experience than me at the time, and I really connected with, and I feel like a lot of my professional skills and scope of practice is really refined because of the mentorship that I had. And
I would say focusing on experience. So a lot of your social work skills and practice will come from experience. So whether that's employment, volunteering, getting involved in the community, but also ensuring that you have the proper education behind that. So for us, we do a significant amount of schooling, yes. But then we also work on continuing education, so to make sure that we are up on the most current studied practices, as well as just understanding where our people are coming from and what information they might be getting that influences their decisions, lifestyles, things like that.
Yeah, continuing education is super important because the field of social work is always changing and new research is always out. We're professionals, and having that professional development is super important in this field.